I'm Zachariah Bogart, and welcome to Let's Talk Sedalia, a 1-hour program dedicated to bringing you news about Smith Cotton and key issues shaping Sedalia, Missouri. Each week, we welcome new guests to discuss topics that matter to our community. Let's Talk Sedalia is hosted by Ron Tollner, John Meehan, and myself. Now, let's turn it over to Ron Tollner and John Meehan as I bring you this week's guest program.
Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Sedalia. This has been a fantastic year, both for Ron and I, and also the CAPS program here at Smith Cotton High School. I would like to give the viewers just maybe a little brief history. Ron and I started off doing a show on the radio on Saturday mornings, and that was, of course, just strictly talking on the radio, as you would expect. And then because of the technical support, we really had to let that piece go. But it was the original concept of Ron to, there's got to be topics of interest that our public and our viewers and our listeners and those throughout the community that just were not being exposed to. And so we really had a lot of great programs, and those are still available on Facebook through Let's Talk Sedalia. But because of technical issues, we left that, and then Ron, great idea, was to approach the school district, in particular Wade Norton, the principal here at Smith Cotton, and says, would this at all fit in the CAPS program? And not only did they open up the CAPS program with open arms for us to do this, they accommodated us, and it's just been a great program, and it's been a lot of fun. Today's program is really about the student side of the CAPS program, because they've been listening to us throughout the whole deal, but they didn't know all the work that was going on behind this. And Zach, I'm going to start with you.
All right.
I know to get going, to get this all going, we had some hurdles.
Yeah.
And isn't that just like real life?
Oh,
It's just like
absolutely.
going on a job site. Nothing is never laid out smooth. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be issues, but you conquered all of those.
Yeah.
And so, speaking for Ron, which that's preferable that I speak for Ron, that we really appreciate all the time and the effort and work that you've put in this. So tell us now your experience of how you went about getting this all started.
Well, beginning of the year, no projects. Nobody had any projects. My instructor, Mrs. Gray, she had brought up the idea of this podcast. I researched it, looked it up. I'm like, sounds like a great idea. What do I have to do?
Right.
So initially, there was going to be 2 people starting it, but he had been caught up with other things, so it was just down to me. To get it started, really, it was a lot. I mean, had to meet with both of you to discuss what you wanted, figure out what would be included on the podcast, and we didn't have a place to film. So we went over to WK, met with Kelsey Wymouth, and he was like, we might have a spot for you. So we met with Alan Coulter. He does the WK Burnouts podcast.
Yes.
And he was gracious enough to let us use the facility. And that was a great starting spot. But being there wasn't my own place. So I really, I had to take down everything every single time, every single week, reset back up. It was like a 30-minute setup process,
Yes.
every single week. And this is my first time, doing this. So I really had no idea what I was doing. Had some issues, audio, video, bugs, corruption, the files, and just a bunch of other things. So
and everybody that's viewing this says, well, all you needed to do is push the button on the camera, right?
it was no. So I used to use a Blackmagic 6K camera, and I used HDMI to a switcher. From the switcher, I plugged that into my MacBook. And then I had to get the microphone set up. I had to use a Rodecaster Pro 2. Also plug that into my MacBook. I had to keep my MacBook charged, so I had to plug my MacBook into the wall. And I had to listen to it. So really, there was like 3 or 4 wires coming out of my MacBook every single time. Plus, I had to set up the camera, get it positioned correct. I didn't have like a certain layout that I used. I had to, all the wires were behind the chairs that were against the wall. So I had to move all the chairs. Every single time I would set up, it would take about 30 minutes.
And I think our viewers probably, Ron, that are our age, didn't quite fully understand what Zach was saying here with all the technical jargon.
Heck, I didn't understand.
That's right. But the younger viewers here that are watching this here today, then I think they understand what all those steps meant and how many steps there had to be taken in order to get us where we're at. Zach.
Yeah.
And one thing that he didn't mention, at least not yet, was during this whole process, he also had to put up with you and me.
That was the easiest part. Yeah, but after, trial and error, finally started getting it good and spoke with Mr. Norton, and we met, and he allowed us to use this room. There was a shirt printing and like clothing printing in here. They moved to a bigger room, so they didn't, really miss anything.
Okay.
And then, we got this behind us. We got paneling behind us. We got different outlets put in. We got these, tables, chairs, microphones, camera. We got the wall painted. We got an entire new room that I can keep everything in. So, it's just now really, it's just plug in one cable into my MacBook, press play, and we're good to go.
Well, now that's during the recording process.
Yeah.
But after it's recorded, then what happens?
Well, then I take the videos from the SSD or external drive that we all keep, and I put it into Premiere Pro, and I just listen to it. I cut out anything that is unnecessary, a lot of ums I hear, a lot of stuttering. I make it look nice. I polish it, add an introduction, a stinger, and I make sure to make clips as well while I'm listening to it.
And so the viewers know, yes, it's recorded, but it's recorded semi-live. But this lady here is the one that makes Ron and I sound good, and all of our guests sound good. So thank you for that. And I didn't introduce you, so tell the viewers who you are and what grade level you're in and that sort of thing.
Yeah, hello. My name is Janet Martinez. I'm a senior at Smith Kline, and I'm the video editor for the Let's Talk Today podcast.
And a very good one there too.
Thank you.
So,
Thank
Janet, if you took all of the programs that have been involved with this school year, in general, how long did it take for you to fix what we would screw up in the first place?
Like in the very first episode, or
thereafter? How, hopefully, did it improve any?
yes, I would say so.
Now go ahead and say it. I got better, but Ron didn't. It's okay to say that if you want to.
Yeah, I've noticed I've cut a lot. I've cut less things out in more recent episodes, and just that makes it easier to transition between each cuts. And yeah, I don't worry as much as I did before, because I remember I would replay it twice or three times. Like, did I forget to cut something out? Did I miss something? But yeah, it's pretty smooth now.
Well, Ron and I, Ron's concept with all of this is to enlighten the community. And we, with our guests, speakers, and that come in and visit with us, we think that we're sharing a story with all those who view the podcast. The other piece of that is the educational component, and
Which is the CAPS part of it.
well, yes, okay, and of course, those who are familiar with the podcast in the past and have looked at those, there's the student portion that actually kicks off most shows.
Shows.
Yeah. So tell us about that piece of that.
Yeah. So we had. We're going to have the show be around an hour long. So that would be or 45 minutes, excuse me. So that would be, we were going to have a community news segment, a short one, student news segment, which was also around 7 minutes, and then the longer segment, which is around 30 minutes. It started off, I would have guests in, every single week. It was doing really good. It was great interviewing them, loved it. But then, robotic season started. I didn't really have a lot of time anymore. Then got closer to the end. We had a lot of episodes to go. I didn't have a lot of guests left. So it was really now just this big 30-minute segment, around now 40, 45 minutes. Depends on the guests and who's interviewing.
I know what you're trying to say. Ron's interviews are much longer than mine. I know what you're trying to say here.
I'm kidding. But No, I really enjoyed it. It really allowed people to get their message out, get the students' message out. You know, I've had people on the show from different CAPS, strands, different programs, and then I've had some people use this studio that I helped set up to promote their message out. And we had a student that recorded a short little segment to talk about a project he was doing, and that got sent out to the whole school. So using this room.
Ron, I was not aware of that, but that is really a neat component of that. I mean, that's a sidebar. Away from this Let's Talk Sedalia, that was the complete educational component of that. That's neat.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I would not say I'm a video editor, but I've picked up a little bit. I edited that video just to give, Janet less videos to edit, less stress, because they recorded it and they needed it pretty much done by the end of that week.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Yeah, give Janet less stress. Didn't want her having to edit 2 full videos.
Right. Well, she had her hands full just taking care of Ron and I.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Right.
So this program has really helped me edit, talk to people. I mean, gosh, interviewing people, messaging people, contacting people, emails, text messages.
Okay.
I mean, it's been great just doing this podcast.
Well, of course, now, Ron, I was looking at this for educational piece here for Zach, in that it was all the technical stuff that goes on, okay? But he's just saying that it's made him a better and more personable person to reach out to people, to set up, to coordinate that, to scheduling. I mean, all those things that happen in real life.
Yeah, and you don't really see it on the podcast. You don't know, the viewers don't really see what goes into the podcast, especially like the CAP side. I mean, for a student, it's definitely a great experience. I mean, like, my emails have definitely improved drastically.
Yes, yeah.
And overall, just like better and easier to talk to people.
And I remember early on, Zach, one time we were having, I think it was a group meeting with, all of your team. And, we got into the subject of communication, of networking, that you can't do too much of that. I mean, I certainly noticed that. I generally visited with you directly, as opposed to the rest of the guys. Although I love you guys to death, by the way. You did a great job. But I could see it in you, as far as the communication aspect of it. Yeah, and really.
He's matured.
Yes, he has.
That's right. Yeah. We can say, Ron, you and I have already matured.
I'm going back the other direction.
So, I know we want to talk to some other folks that were part of this CAPS program, so we don't want to take too much time here. But I think the viewers, in addition to Ron and I, would like to know where you're going from here. You're both seniors. So let's start with you, Jen. Tell us, what's your plans? What's next?
Yes, I plan to go to UMKC.
Okay.
So I'm going to the city, and I'm going to study chemistry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
With that education, and maybe you're not anywhere close to that yet, but do you have thoughts of where you want to go from there? What you want to do?
Yeah, I've thought about going into healthcare, and I've found a career that I've never heard of. I don't think people talk about, which is a medical laboratory scientist or technician. And that sounds interesting to me. I just like the labs that we do here. And that's something that right now, that's what I'm interested. But of course, it can change.
Well, yeah. I mean, once you get there and get exposed to all those different opportunities and options available to you. So thank you for what you've done and covering up for Ron and I. And you did a super job with that. Zach, where are you going from here? You're a senior.
Yeah, so in the fall, I'm going to the University of Missouri, Columbia. So I'm going to Mizzou for mechanical engineering, and I'm planning on minoring in aerospace engineering. That way, it broadens up the job opportunities and job market for me. The classwork isn't too much different with the minor, so I'll just, have a few extra classes, and that will, allow me to do what I'm interested in. So, I get to do CAD work, design, implement, be creative, and still make pretty good money. So,
and that's the ultimate goal.
Really,
you need to
yeah.
be happy in what you're
absolutely.
doing. So, What do you think, Ron? Is that an area of study that you would have been successful in?
No.
Not me neither. So.
Although, just offering something to you, my son actually did get a degree in aerospace engineering out of Texas A&M, and he'd be happy to visit anytime.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Might give you a few pointers in the right direction there. That's great. Okay. Anything that you two would want to share with the viewers?
I've had a great experience doing this, and I'm ready for next year to see what comes of it. It'll be a new group of students, new opportunities for them to learn and grow as individuals, and I'm excited to see what comes of it.
Okay, excellent.
I would like to say to the next video editor to practice Premiere like immediately. Do not hold it off, because even though I got better, it took me time, and if I didn't put it off, I think it would have came out like how it is now since the beginning. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Once you go through the process and
it becomes
you do it a little
habit.
bit, then it's more repetitive. And
I'll tell you, Janet, I've listened to every program, and I think you did great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I joke about that I'm like the Let's Talk Sedalia podcast #1 listener, because I have to listen to every episode.
And sometimes 2 or 3 times to make sure that you've done it correctly. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, that brings to mind something. One thing I wanted to run by you before you guys get out of here and we meet with the next group. But you've talked to me before, Zach, and I don't care who answers this, but about the exposure for Let's Talk Sedalia. I always refer to it as how many hits do we have, and what would you say on average?
Well, I know on Facebook we get, a good day. We've had more than 5,000 in one post. YouTube and Spotify, since they're external links, Facebook's our primary source. It falls off a little bit, but we, YouTube, YouTube and Spotify around 100-ish. Okay. So we do get a lot of viewers on Facebook, and that's our primary source of listening.
Good. Mm-hmm. Good.
And maybe that's a little bit our fault too, because we started off on Facebook and posted all of those on there, and it encouraged Zach and the team to let that be the primary source out there. So,
yeah.
Yep.
Well, again, thank you guys.
Absolutely.
Great experience for me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Tremendous. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Sedalia. This is a tough one for Ron and I, because this is the last recording of the 2024-2025 CAPS program Let's Talk Sedalia podcast. And today is really our goal here is to shed a little light of everything that happens behind the scenes. What you've seen previously is Ron and I, either both of us or individually, interviewing some hosts that really enlightened the community on different topics and things of interest and importance to our friends and neighbors. But today, we want to talk to the folks who made things work within the CAPS program for the podcast here for us. And the one just previously, we had Zach and Janet in here, and of course, Zach's kind of taken charge and was the lead person in all of this. And Janet made sure that when she edited Ron and I, that she made us sound good, and she did a super job at that, So would like to have you introduce yourself, and then tell us what part you brought to the podcast.
All right. My name is Maddie, and I run both of the Instagram and the Facebook pages. So I am in charge of uploading and making all of the captions.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm Ryland Olson. I'm in charge of the YouTube and the Spotify. I upload the videos. I make the descriptions. I also made the logo for the channel on the Spotify and the YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, basically, Ron, people tune into this and watch this podcast, and they just see things run so smoothly, but it all runs smoothly because of the podcast team and the CAPS program. So, So what have you learned, and what have you got out of the this portion of the CAPS program?
So, just CAPS in general for me is just, it's made me grow as a person.
Okay.
I have definitely seen that now.
Okay.
Like a couple days ago, I was reflecting on myself and where I was at the beginning. Like I was so shy talking to people. I didn't really know how to write a professional email. And like I didn't understand how important deadlines were. But now
Okay.
like in the professional world, in like a real job setting, you have to set deadlines. And like especially for this podcast, the clips get posted on Thursday and the full podcast episode gets posted on Friday. And so I have to know that, and then that relies on me to get that out. So
So that was a learning experience for you, and that is exactly the way real life work is.
Yes.
And you discovered that in this process, which is, I guess, is an attribute of the CAPS program, because
Yes.
that's what it's supposed to be. It's
Yeah.
to take the student and, yes, learn a skill or how to learn something about the community and the different opportunities out there, but also what's it going to take to hold that job and to keep that job and to do the job the way it should be done.
yeah, they're all of the skills that we do learn. Like I will forever carry those with me to wherever I go, and I'm very happy and grateful that I had this experience.
Great, great.
Yeah, yeah. CAPS has definitely done a lot for me. Before CAPS, I was terrible, and I would always like dread talking to people that I don't know, like going and meeting somebody, like setting up an appointment with somebody to like
Okay.
talk with them about stuff. I was super intimidated by that, and then now I'm a lot less so after doing it like several times throughout the school year so far. And the podcast in particular definitely helped with deadlines because sometimes we didn't know how long it would take to upload a video sometimes, because there were some videos that would take like an hour and a half to upload, and then they just wouldn't upload or something and would have issues, and they're supposed to upload at 4 p.m. on Fridays, and then it would come out like 8 p.m. on Fridays because of whatever issues we're having. So I started doing them on Thursdays whenever I could, because I can schedule them for the next day just in case we have issues.
Again, another really great learning component here. So
in this process, Maddie, as you said, you needed to get things out there to be heard. As far as the communication to the public, I'm speaking mainly of Facebook here. But, did the original notifications or comments, did they come from you?
Elaborate more.
Well, I mean, your responsibility was, a lot of it would involved the marketing of it, so to speak. So when the and you got to realize I'm not a Facebooker even, so you're talking the height of ignorance here. But as far as I knew enough that I knew notifications were coming out via Facebook about, hey, there's going to be another episode coming up, or hey, here is the next episode, what have you. Were those communications through you?
Yes, all of those have been through me. So Janet uploads the clips into a Google Drive folder, and I get those. And then I make a caption like, join us tomorrow as we sit down, blah, 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 blah. And so then I upload those. And then when the videos are premiered on Fridays, I just copy that link and put those into Facebook with the same kind of caption, except it just says, join us today as we chat with.
Okay. Okay. When Zach has told us before, as far as what I refer to as is how many hits are we getting, Zach? And I know more times than not he has used that 5,000 number. I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
Should I?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the views have definitely gone up because of like just how we're presenting it and getting and marketing it out, and then also just editing the video, because how you can edit a video can get you more views. And so just like what the audience prefers. And so then
makes sense.
when someone likes that, that just gets on other people's feed. It's just how an algorithm works.
Yeah.
So it's just an easier way to get it out to people.
Well, getting those number of hits, like I said, for the first year of doing it this way, I was very happy. So, and if it resulted in that number, I think you did a great job.
Yes, yeah. I'm very proud of the work, and I'm very sad to be leaving.
Well, we are too. So, and yes, this, as I said earlier, this is kind of a mixed bag of emotions here. This is the end of the very first podcast opportunity through the CAPS program. You two are seniors, and you're moving on. So, tell us what's your plans.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to Missouri State University to get a major in marketing and a minor in digital film.
Okay. So this has kind of prepped you a little bit for that.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, we've all talked about, or all of the CAP students here have talked about how it's helped them in programming, scheduling, and being a little bit more open to discussion and communication process. But you're going to pursue a career.
Yeah,
right?
I am. Okay. A lot of job opportunities that have marketing fields, like they pay really well. And I also love doing photography, and I want to get into videography. So I feel like it's a really good balance for me.
Okay, no, so videography, what is that? Is that me with a camera going around campus and taking pictures at the ball game or something? Or?
I mean, it can be. It can be like whatever you really want. One of our CAPS associates, Charlotte, she is the videographer and for Team Scream.
Okay.
And so I've just kind of been watching her as I'm the photographer, and I just like admire her work. And so I want to learn that.
Okay, well, that's neat. Okay, and how about you, sir?
I plan on going to Mizzou for computer science. Okay. I want to do video games and 3D animation, and I also want to be an author.
Okay.
It's a lot to juggle, but I want to make it happen.
And so how did your experience here prepare you for that?
Definitely like interacting with people to get things done, and deadlines, like I said, and just the entire experience as a whole just helped improve me in pretty much all areas, I think.
So, Rylan, when you say you want to be an author, what kind of genre?
I want to write fantasy books.
All right.
You got to go with the games. I mean, you would, okay.
I'll buy them.
I'll send one to you. I'll give you my autograph.
Well, that would be very nice. 2, 3, 5 years from now, whatever, we invite the original crew back here, and they would say, "Hey, what's happened since then?"
Yeah, that would be neat.
Yeah. And you could bring your book back with you, and you give away free copies on the air. And
well, maybe not free.
All right.
Auction them off.
He learned enough in this process. He knows nothing is for free.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's. Well, on behalf of Ron and I, this was all made possible by the, we like to say, the backroom hard work, and you two have really helped make all of that possible. And Zach's was a super leader, but it was much more than a one-man job.
Oh yeah.
And so the four of you coming together and making that work, and I think you probably kind of selected what area you wanted to focus on. So, that part was good. So, Ron and I feel really good about the whole CAPS program and how, our first goal was to take topics and subjects that we thought the community needed to be aware of and that sort of thing. But then your team came together and also interviewed other things going on in Smith Cotton and the high school. And so that kind of promoted the real student side of things too. So, Ron, any last? I mean,
one thing I want to do before we get out of here is I want to give a shout out to Mindy Gray, who I'll refer to her as the faculty advisor for you guys. That may not be the right terminology, but Mindy, you were a big help in this process, kind of bringing us all together. So that is really appreciated.
Well, and follow up too, Ron, with your initial conversations and your meeting with Principal Wade Norton. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your conversations with him.
And he was an extreme supporter of this. So, thank you, Wade. We appreciate that.
Well, he is education. We're not. And so he had the insight to see the value of the educational component of this, where we just thought it was a good idea, but he saw the long term where all these other things can be pulled into this process, and the learning center of that. So that's great. Any last words? Any last comments? And really any words of advice for the next student team coming on next year?
Well, I mean, through this whole year, we have had a lot of hiccups. There have been some corruption files that happened, and then a lot of us were gone for robotics, so we had to post like not when we're at school. So that was a little bit. So I would just say
you adapted and
Yeah.
you overcame those challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is one of our CAP skills.
There you
so
go.
that was very impressive. So I guess just like push through and just try to meet those deadlines, because it is really important in the real world. Well, I guess in the professional world.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just whenever you have issues, just keep going, because like it'll probably end up fine, probably. We had like I said earlier, we had a lot of issues like uploading videos, and sometimes they just did not want to upload, or YouTube was having issues, or Spotify was having issues, or we were having internet issues, but eventually we'd get it posted even if it was on Saturday or even Sunday. But yeah, just persistence is key, I think.
And I have been told by Zach specifically that he has been documenting the processes all year long.
Okay.
So if that's the case, that's certainly a early step forward for next year's group.
Yes.
How about you all? Have you documented any of the things that you've done, or just kind of left that up to Zach, or how about that communication piece?
I mean, it kind of just, I could put all the captions into a document, but I feel like my documentation is already kind of out there with all of the clips and the captions put together.
So the student coming along behind you, if they just follow in your footsteps, it'll fall in place.
I mean, yeah, and I could write like little tips on a document, like do this and do that.
Okay.
So, and I'll probably do that.
Okay. All right. Well, any last words of wisdom you want to share with the viewers here today?
That CAPS was a good experience.
Yes, CAPS is a
It's
very
always doing
good
the podcast.
experience.
And you guys were a great experience for us.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. You did super.
It was a two-way street, wasn't it, Ron?
There you go.
Yeah,
It was
both ways.
interesting. CAPS is just a really good experience. I was very unsure about it, and at some points I did really want to quit, but now that like looking at where I was in the beginning, where I am now, I feel like it was a very good experience, and I'm very glad that I had it in high school.
Well, and isn't that a lesson within itself about, really having second thoughts? What did I get myself into? Okay, and then seeing that, hey, I persevered through this. This is where we ended up, and I'm really proud of what we've done. And those are quality life skills. So, well, again, Ron, let's just thank the district, thank Wade Norton, thank the program leadership. Number one, the leadership that actually brought the CAPS program to Smith Cotton, and then of course, Mindy and everybody that's helped out through us. It's been fun for us. So
Sure it has been. And John, just remember, in a couple of months, we're going to talk again.
that's right. So we're not going away, but you might not see us for a few weeks, beginning probably in June, middle of June. That's when our broadcast this last one will be aired. But we'll be back. So be patient.
There we go.
There we go. Thank you.
Yay!
All right.
Thank you.